You're at a gathering. There's laughter, conversation, the hum of connection happening all around you. You're nodding at the right moments. You're smiling. You might even be telling a story, making someone laugh. And somewhere underneath all of that, there's this quiet ache, this sense of watching yourself from a slight distance, like you're present, but not quite there, like something essential about you is behind glass. And the strangest part? You can't point to anything wrong. No one is excluding you. No one is being unkind. The problem isn't the room. The problem is something you can't name. So you wonder if maybe this is just who you are, if maybe you're too much, or not enough, or somehow fundamentally incapable of the thing that seems so effortless for everyone else. Here's what no one tells you. The loneliest people often aren't the ones sitting alone. They're the ones who've learned to perform presence while feeling invisible inside. And that invisibility isn't a flaw, it's a signal, one most people never learn to read. This is what psychologists sometimes call emotional loneliness, a specific kind of isolation that has nothing to do with how many people are around you and everything to do with whether you feel genuinely known by any of them. It's different from social loneliness, which is about lacking companionship. Emotional loneliness is about lacking depth, lacking the sense that someone truly sees you, not the version of you that shows up for others, but the one underneath. And it turns out, the brain registers this form of loneliness in almost the same way it registers physical pain. Neuroscience research, particularly studies out of UCLA, found that social rejection and exclusion activate the same neural pathways as physical injury. The anterior cingulate cortex lights up. The brain doesn't distinguish between being left out and being wounded. And here's where it gets deeper. You don't have to be technically left out to feel this way. You just have to perceive a gap between how known you want to be and how known you actually feel. That gap is enough to trigger the pain response, even in a room full of people who like you. So no, you're not being dramatic. You're not making it up. Your nervous system is responding to something real, a kind of disconnection that isn't visible but is absolutely felt. And for many people, this pattern didn't begin in adulthood. It began much earlier. If you grew up in an environment where your emotional experience was overlooked, not necessarily through cruelty, but through absence, distraction, or misattunement, you may have learned very early that your inner world wasn't something others could hold. Maybe your parents were physically present, but emotionally unavailable. Maybe your feelings were dismissed as too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. Maybe you learned that the safest thing to do was handle everything internally. Keep the surface pleasant. Don't burden anyone. And so you became skilled at something that looks like connection, but doesn't quite function as one. You learned to listen, to adapt, to read the room and become whoever the moment required. But the cost was subtle. You stopped expecting to be truly seen. You stopped offering the parts of yourself that felt risky. And over time, that became your normal. This isn't weakness, it's adaptation. Your system learned that depth wasn't safe, so it settled for proximity instead. Now here's the part people rarely talk about. This kind of loneliness often coexists with the ability to connect beautifully with others on their terms. You might be the person everyone turns to, the one who remembers details about people's lives, who makes others feel heard, who creates warmth wherever you go. But inside, you're still waiting, still holding out hope that someone will do for you what you do so instinctively for them. And this isn't anyone's fault. It's not that people don't care about you. It's that you've unconsciously trained them to receive rather than give. You've made it so easy to be liked without being known that you've never had to risk the alternative. That's the paradox of emotional loneliness. The skills that protect you from rejection often prevent you from intimacy. The armor that keeps you safe also keeps you separate.
None of this means you're incapable of deep connection. It means that the version of connection you've been offering hasn't asked much of others, and in some ways that felt safer. But in other ways, it kept you on the outside of your own relationships. There's a concept in psychology called earned secure attachment, which simply means that even if your early environment didn't teach you how to feel safely connected to others, that wiring can still be built. The nervous system isn't fixed, it's responsive. It updates based on new experiences, new relationships, new moments where you're witnessed without needing to perform. That doesn't mean you need to become someone else. It means you might slowly begin letting others see the parts of you that you've kept in shadow, not because you have to, but because at some point the cost of staying hidden starts to outweigh the safety of it. You're not broken for feeling alone in crowded rooms. You're not strange for smiling while something inside you aches. You are simply someone whose inner world has been waiting a very long time to be met. And that's not a flaw. That's a form of depth most people never develop. The loneliness you feel isn't evidence that something is wrong with you. It might actually be evidence that you're capable of more intimacy than you've ever let yourself experience. There's more to understand about how we hide from connection while craving it. If this reached something in you, stay close. What comes next goes even deeper.